After the more recent Crystar, which I had a pretty good time with, I had pretty high hopes diving into Crymachina. This is developer Furyu's latest project. Historically, Furyu's ventures into novel gaming arenas have garnered attention, but this time around, it honestly felt like they just missed the mark. Let's talk about the recently released Crymachina. First off, we have Distill, our protagonist, who starts off on a very captivating note. Caught in the gray area between life and death, harboring a deep-seated resentment for mankind. Her sudden transformation into the world's beacon of hope sets an enticing stage. However, the story unravels, this gripping narrative gets tangled amidst a myriad of subplots and dense character dynamics. While Noah, our favorite AI robot lady, is supposed to be the linchpin holding all of these strands together, it often feels like a big jigsaw puzzle with different pieces from different sets, just like if a whole different team of people were putting together different parts of a game. The game's venture into the realm of personality data is undeniably intriguing. Distill's metamorphosis into a quote-unquote Eve in this futuristic realm does bring a fresh dimension to the narrative. With her fellow companions, Makoto and Amy, and of course other, the trio navigates a world that eerily is reminiscent of like some of those old cinematic sci-fi classics, which isn't a bad thing by any means. While the narrative promises unexpected twists, its intense focus at times feels more like a visual novel than an engaging game. And it definitely has those things called tea parties as tea party segments, and this does further distance us, the players, from the core gameplay experience. Transitioning to gameplay, Crymachina stumbles hard. Combat mechanics are cumbersome at best. The controls seems like they were pieced together last minute, making for janky encounters and repetitive combat sequences. And I have to repeat, repetitive combat sequences. Basic actions such as healing or summoning allies are lost within clunky menus. Honestly, it's disappointing, especially considering Furyu's track record that is pretty up and down, but more recently up. But don't worry, it's not all negative. Crymachina does excel in the aesthetics department. Characters are meticulously crafted, visuals are really mesmerizing, and the voice actors do deliver commendable performances. Even if one of the biggest things that I was disappointed in was the absence of English voiceovers, and in 2023, it just feels like a glaring oversight. Gone are the days of the 90s when a game would come out in Japan and we would decide to bring it overseas. Now, really, the West is the bigger market and the English-speaking areas are the bigger market. So it's just really surprising when a game doesn't contain English as an option. And I know a lot of you out there are saying, hey, that's not a big deal, but it really is for the silent majority. The soundtrack, though, is worth mentioning. It is masterfully crafted, and it does capture the game's ambiance pretty good at most times. To wrap up this whole thing, Crymachina evokes a sense of nostalgia, harking back to a time when we compromised on gameplay for a compelling story. As it stands, it's a mixed experience, and if you're better than I and willing to look over gameplay flaws for a captivating narrative, it might be maybe worth your time. However, if you prioritize seamless gameplay and combat depth, this might be a hard pass. The Game Looters over here, we represent and review Crymachina a 5 out of 10. Stay tuned for more in-depth reviews and make sure to stick with us for gaming, walkthroughs, tips, and much more. And of course, we'll see you next time.